Ha guys, let's get more news about Warriors, but first don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. Jonathan Kuminga's injury status for Warriors. Grizzlies. The Golden State Warriors are on the road on Tuesday night as they travel to take on the Memphis Grizzlies in a key Western Conference matchup. Of course, Tuesday game is a massive one in the West standings as the Warriors sit just half of a game behind the Grizzlies for the 5th seed, with the playoff right around the corner. Golden State enters Tuesday's contest amid a 2-game winning streak, and they have also won 7 of their last 10 games. They will look to keep things rolling against a Grizzlies team that is amid a 3-game losing streak and has dropped 7 of their last 10 games. For the Warriors, they may be without their young forward Jonathan Kuminga in Tuesday's matchup, as they have listed him as questionable due to a right pelvic contusion. Jonathan Kuminga is questionable tomorrow at Memphis. The Warriors are now listing it as a right pelvic contusion, not an ankle issue. He landed hard last night. Gary Payton too is out. Everyone else available for Warriors in a high-stakes game in Memphis. Kuminga suffered the injury in Sunday's blowout victory over the San Antonio Spurs after he took a hard fall. The Warriors originally listed Kuminga as questionable due to an ankle injury, but they changed it on Monday to a pelvic contusion. Of course, this is the same injury Stephen Curry suffered 2 weeks ago against the Toronto Raptors that sidelined him for 3 games, but it is encouraging for Golden State that Kuminga is listed as questionable instead of already being ruled out. The 22-year-old forward is having a great season, but he has missed a ton of time due to injury, as he has played in just 41 games this season. Because of this, the Warriors may sit Kuminga to make sure that he is fully healthy for their upcoming playoff run. If that is the case, Buddy Hield and Gus Santos should see an increased role off the bench on Tuesday night in Memphis. Brandin Podziemski has shook early narrative that plagued future Warriors potential. Brandin Podziemski's early season form led to increase in concern and frustration among Golden State Warriors fans, particularly after a summer in which both player and franchise spoke highly about the young guard's potential after an impressive rookie year. There was also the speculation surrounding Golden State's unwillingness to include Podziemski in a trade for Lauri Markkanen, leaving the team without a second go-to scorer after an off-season of being linked to multiple stars. Those factors led to immense pressure on me, and he seemingly struggled to handle it, which only became more problematic when the Warriors started struggling dramatically after a 12-3 start to the season. Throughout the first 24 games of his season, Podziemski had only 2 games of 15 points or more. He averaged 7.7 points throughout this period, shooting a paltry 37.6% from the floor and 25% from three-point range. As much as Podziemski's value doesn't lie simply in his score, the lack of production in that area and the poor shooting percentages plagued the idea that he could be more than a role player in the NBA. Unless you're an all-time great defender like Draymond Green, it's difficult to become an all-star caliber player without averaging at least 18 to 20 points per game. While some fans bemoan the fact Golden State didn't give up Podziemski when his value was high during the off-season, the franchise has been proven right in the 22-year-old stunning turnaround since that wobbly start. Podziemski has had a couple of different stints on the sidelines through injury, but in his last 32 games following the initial 24-game period, he's now averaging 13.2 points on 46.6% shooting from the floor and 40.2% from beyond the arc. Those numbers are much more in line with the trajectory of a very young player who still holds all-star potential, as opposed to the first 24 games. Podziemski has now scored 15+ points in 14 of the 32 games. The turnaround was reiterated in one of the best games of Podziemski's short career on Sunday, having nailed a career-high 7 threes to finish with 27 points, 9 of 14 shooting, 6 rebounds and 5 assists in less than 27 minutes during a blowout win over the San Antonio Spurs. During these last 31 games, Podziemski has now solidified a backcourt starting role that so many envisioned during the off-season, has led their Warriors in plus-minus at +166 and now figures to be a huge part in the team team's aspirations for playoff success coming off a disappointing season in 2023-24. Veteran center Kevon Looney was one of the biggest talking points from Golden State Warriors Media Day at the end of September. Not only did Looney look noticeably slimmer after the summer, but he also revealed how he spent the entire offseason getting up 400 to 500 threes per day in the hope of reinventing his career a decade in, yet it took until the final minutes of Sunday's game against the San Antonio Spurs for Looney to make his first three of the season. To be fair, it was only his fourth attempt and came under little pressure as Golden State's blowout 148-106 victory allowed for over a quarter of garbage time as Looney ripped the net with his rear corner three-pointer. The Warrior bench exploded in celebrating what was the 3x champions' first made three since 2021. Steve Kerr offers Jonathan Kuminga injury update after Warriors Spurs. The Golden State Warriors had a great night on Sunday, with the exception of one key issue. On the bright side of things, they absolutely routed the San Antonio Spurs in a dominant 148-106 ball game, scoring their highest point total of the season. However, they lost Jonathan Kuminga again to injury by the end of the night. The Warriors forward has already missed a significant chunk of the 2024-25 NBA season due to injury. There are concerns that Kuminga could be back on the shelf again after this one. The pro exited the game against the Spurs and went to the locker room after taking a hard fall. The official designation for him not returning was right ankle soreness. The concern here was the fact that it was the same ankle that forced him to miss 31 games earlier this season. Steve Kerr offered an update on the rising star. The Warriors head coach told the media that Kuminga is headed for evaluation after going down in the game. Such a bummer, you know, he was just coming back, finding his rhythm and playing well, so hopefully it's nothing too serious. Kerr told Sam Gordon the Warriors clearly managed to find their SD ride without their young forward. Kuminga finished the game playing only 6 minutes, registering 4 points and 1 rebound before going down. The pro is averaging 16.0 points, 4.6 rebounds, 2.2 assists, 0.9 steals and 0.5 blocks per game in 2024-25, with shooting splits of 46-32-67. The opportunity to properly integrate himself with the new look of the team after the addition of Jimmy Butler may be cut short here for Kuminga. This is disappointing considering how close the NBA playoffs are at this point. And you fan, what do you think about Jonathan Sigan's situation? Write to us in the comments.